What's good, y'all? This is Devin Morrison, and you're listening to Ambiance podcast.
What up, people? Welcome to Ambiance podcast. Today is a very special day. I got a guest named Devin Morrison.
What's good? What's good?
An artist based in Los Angeles, but from Orlando, Florida, right?
Correct.
Awesome. So, coming from Orlando, do you miss home a lot?
Not anymore.
Not anymore?
I just went back, maybe a few weeks ago.
Okay.
So, yeah, that kind of fixed my whole, craving for going back home. I'm good now.
How often do you go?
I went back recently for the first time in like 3 years.
In 3 years?
Mm-hmm. So I was there for like a week, and then that kind of, took care of, that. So I'm good now.
So you've lived in, you haven't lived in LA during those past 3 years though, right?
No. So for a year and a half of that, I was in Tokyo, and then for the rest of that, I was in LA.
Okay. What brought you to Tokyo?
It was always like a childhood dream, and then an opportunity arose for me to teach English.
Oh.
So I did that for a while. Got fired, and then got fired again, and then I was like, you know what? Let me just do what I went to school for, which is music. And a few friends of mine who were artists were like, you should just do music and just let that be that. So
yeah. So in Orlando, what's the music scene like out there? Because coming from here, like I don't really know much about Orlando. Is there like a good music scene out there?
Yeah, there are some talented people out there. I mean, we have a lot of special, like, unique individuals, like Mo's dope. Ayo, the producer Ayo and Keys, they produce WAP for Cardi B and Meg. But I don't know. It's very divided. So I don't know. Someone did a ill divide and conquer on our city, because it's like everyone's kind of fighting each other to get to this place. Nobody really wants to like work together.
Really?
At least that's my impression. I could be wrong.
Right.
But from what I remember and from what I can still see, it's like it's not a whole lot of collaboration going on.
Got you. And there's enough room for everybody to eat, right? Coming from
for
Orlando.
Sure. I mean, living out here in LA, it's kind of where I realized that people actually will want you to be put on as well. So it's weird.
Have you heard of Kalen Ellis?
Yeah.
He's from Orlando. And
no way.
Yeah, Kalen's from Orlando, and he stays out there right now. I'm pretty sure he was on the podcast like a month or two ago.
Kalen's from Orlando.
Yeah.
Yo, no, I never knew.
That's why I was gonna ask you. I was just like, "Yo, have you guys ever worked together,
Nah.
or cause some Orlando ties for you?"
Because I've been hearing his beats. The dude's cold, like
yeah,
J. Cole.
It's dope. One of his biggest come ups was like the other month when he's always sampling beats on Twitter, and like they get mad love, and one of them got to Lupe Fiasco, and Lupe made like a track on his Twitter beat.
Wow.
And then they ended up linking up and then released the whole project, him, Virgil Abloh, and Lupe, from just like a Twitter tweet.
That's crazy.
Yeah, but he deserves it, man. He's talented.
Absolutely. I'm happy for him, man. I'm really happy for him.
Definitely. It'd be dope to see you guys work together maybe one day in the future.
Absolutely. I would love to.
Yeah, you guys would be a dope connection. But awesome. There's a lot to talk about with you, Devin. But first, I kind of wanted to start from like your childhood and get to like what made Devin Morrison the amazing artist that he is today, right?
Okay.
So, how was childhood for you growing up in Orlando? Did you have like a big family?
It's three of us. It's three. My brothers and I. It's two brothers and me, and then my mom, my dad. Both my parents are musicians. Grew up in the church. So you can imagine, how that kind of goes.
Yeah.
You're surrounded by good music all the time. So.
Were you in the choir?
Nah.
You were in the choir?
That's the funny part. Nah, I played drums in church.
Okay.
I wasn't like that great, but yeah, I played drums in church. And even though piano was my main instrument, I was always too afraid of playing in church, Yeah, it is what it is. But yeah, my brothers, they play instruments. Both my brothers are good drummers, and they both make beats, and they taught me how to
Right.
make beats, basically. So
A lot of of your tracks are self-produced by you, right? Or most of them, all of them, almost.
pretty much all of them, yeah.
Yeah. So did you start being an R&B artist first, or did you start making beats first? Which one
Beats
started?
first, definitely.
Beats first.
Yeah.
At what age was that?
I started making beats for real, like around 12.
12 years old.
Yeah, that's when I started really getting into making beats. I got put on the FL Studio back when it was like Fruity Loops.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And I was using that for years. And
Wow.
then I eventually got, put onto a bunch of different DAWs like Logic and, Ableton, and pretty much learned all of them. Except Pro Tools. Pro Tools I'm not really that good at, but now I use Studio One.
Okay.
That's my main one. But yeah, man, I've been doing this for a while.
Yeah. 12 years old is pretty crazy to think about, man.
Yeah.
How have you progressed since then? Like back then you were just kind of like messing around with it, right?
Yeah.
And to the point where you are now, was there like a big learning curve to get through? And if so, like what helped you push through that learning curve?
Learning curve in regards to beats or singing?
Beats.
I mean, it was very innate because I had two brothers with very good taste. Like my brothers were playing Slum Village and stuff like that, Common, and just the Roots. So that was always like in there, along with jazz and gospel. So you put all that together, and it's like, okay, all I have to do is just watch them, and they was making beats all the time. So I was just looking at them, and then once you're doing it over and over and over and over and over again, it becomes pretty second nature. So
yeah, and you could hear some of those elements like in your music now, right? Like some gospel elements, you know what I mean, R&B things, right? So
praise the Lord.
Yeah, praise the Lord. Church. But yeah, you could hear some of that in your music. So would you accredit some of that towards like your upbringing earlier in the day?
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, because I grew up on Richard Smallwood and Fred Hammond, Commission, the whole nine. So yeah,
that just breaded you into what you are today, right?
Mm-hmm. For sure.
That's dope. So at what point in your like childhood or adolescence years did you start to take music more seriously and think that like maybe I could do this for a living?
17. I had a meeting with my teacher. I was enrolled in a vocational school called Orlando Tech. Teacher's name was Glenn Fight.
Shouts out.
And half of the day I was there, and the other half I was in high school. So at this vocational school, I was learning digital audio, how to use Logic, Pro Tools, mixing. So it's kind of funny how it all happened. There was this cat named Ryan in class. He was like an R&B producer or whatever, but he was trying to make a little orchestral interlude or whatever. And I remember watching him and being like, I could do that.
What made you think that I could do that? Just like,
I don't know. I felt like I have this weird competitive thing where I'm like, if I could see someone doing something, I'm just like, I could probably do that better. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I feel it.
So, shout out to Ryan. So I went to the computer next to him, and I just started like, making, because I grew up playing Slow Caliber, so I was like, I can kind of feed from that.
Right.
I wasn't really into classical music yet at the time. But I made like a whole like little piece, and it was called Final Valediction. Yeah, I remember that. I don't know why I called it that. But my teacher was like, dang, you could really do this. Like, you should try to go to school for it. And so at that point, I was like, okay, cool. I can make music for games and film. So I was really excited about that. So we started making a whole campaign for me getting to Berkeley. And so applied, told my mom I wanted to go to Berkeley. She was supportive. Had the audition, got accepted. Way too expensive.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, especially because you're out of state too, right? I could imagine how crazy those tuition prices are.
Yeah, it's bits. It's definitely bits. But Yeah, my mom actually ended up applying for Oakwood University for
Okay.
me. Yeah, their composition program, and I was kind of like, I don't know, but I went. I was like, maybe I'll transfer in a year. Didn't do that. The chairman of the department one day, he heard that I was trying to transfer. This is like once I'm in Oakwood, and he was like, hey, if there's anything that you want us to expose you to, anything that we can show you that you want to get into, please let me know.
Mm-hmm.
And just that kind of regard for a freshman, I'm saying, from the chairman, that meant a lot to me. So I was like, I'll just ride this out. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. What do you think he just believed in you a lot?
Yeah.
That's why he wanted to help you out.
For sure. He showed that throughout my whole tenure. Like, he was always trying to, give me a chance at something.
That's important, man.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to go back to something you said earlier with when you were 17, that teacher giving you that little boost of confidence.
Yeah.
And that's all it takes to take you to where you're at, you know what I mean? To give you a little boost of confidence. And that's why it's so important for the youth to have really good teachers, you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
To encourage them, because while there are teachers like that have done good in your life, there are other teachers sometimes that discourage students and may have blocked a path that they could have went down, you know what I mean?
I'm gonna make a bold statement. I'm gonna say, if you're young and you're thinking about getting into music, let college be your last option.
Go. What do you mean?
Yeah, bold, right?
Yeah.
I say that because, first of all, the first thing you need to do is figure out what you want to do. Try at least have an idea of what you're trying to do. Have a whole 5-year plan. It's going to change probably, which is fine. It happened for me. But do that. If whatever you're doing requires you to get a degree, then fine, whatever. But if not, try to find a mentor. Try to find someone who you look up to, who can teach you some things personally, where you don't have to spend a bunch of money, put yourself in financial debt. Dude, that's my whole beef with college. It's just financially not a smart decision. But I mean, you meet some cool people, but it's a whole 5 years of your life. You know what I'm saying? And I see people younger than me doing what I should have been doing then. I'm just like, okay, well,
Yeah. Well, it's all about learning from your lessons and spreading that knowledge, which is what you're doing right now. You know what I mean? By saying that even. And
it's a little nugget, y'all.
Yeah, little nugget, little gems. Devin Morrison giving out gems, man. Take notes.
Got some drops, man. Need some drops.
Yeah. I love it. I need to get some of that, man. Hey, shout out to Zoom real quick. Audio technology. They're actually sending me some equipment.
Word.
Where I'm gonna have some crazy buttons to use.
Go.
And shit. And
That's what's up.
Man, we're gonna have to run this back in a couple of years. I can start using those gem beats.
Sorry.
But yeah, man. Sometimes the college it is the way it's the system is made is kind of flawed, just because it's putting you into debt for the rest of your life. You got to you're playing catch up as soon as you graduate, right?
Yeah, it's a scam.
It is.
It's a
And
scam.
plus all the resources that you have now, there's a lot of amazing artists that never went to school for it because of YouTube University.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Oh my God, man, look, YouTube, bro.
Yeah.
I've learned so much on YouTube.
So
keep it real.
you probably have interesting perspective on this since you went through the whole college route.
Mm-hmm.
Have you learned more from college or from YouTube and using your resources?
That's a good question, because I've learned a lot in both. So it's kind of hard to say. In college, there's more pressure for you to apply it. So that's one thing.
Mm-hmm.
With YouTube, it's cool because you can get a lot of unbiased information. And I don't know, it's endless, the amount of information you can get on there. You can learn about mortgages.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
True.
Anything.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, if you do go to college, I think what you should do is go to your classes, absorb that lesson, and then go to YouTube and do some more intel, see a different perspective. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. I feel it. And plus, there's some things that you learn in college that you may not know the terms for them. You know what I mean? You want to practice a certain skill and you want to learn it on YouTube. Be like, what is this even called? You know what I mean? So I think college does have an advantage in that sense. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But
and try to find a college that specializes on what it is you're trying to do. Because with universities, you'll be learning about algebra, and it's like, yeah, I'm not going to use this.
True,
You know what I'm saying?
Very true. Yeah.
I'm never going to use this.
There's so much stuff that you don't ever use in life.
Yeah.
Going back to your career, was there anything else that you ever wanted to be, or did you always kind of want to be a musician?
When I was a child, I wanted to be a professional inline skater.
Inline skater.
That's
rare.
I was really into inline skating. Like, I was doing grinds and all that. Like, yeah.
Really? What inspired that?
This game called Jet Set Radio, for sure. After that game, I got skates immediately. Like, I remember I played that game and I was like, man, I really want to do this. Like,
what system was that on?
Dreamcast.
That was one of the very first game systems ever, right?
Not ever, but it came out like 99.
99?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but that game was a game changer. That was kind of the initial spark with the whole Tokyo thing.
Got you.
Mm-hmm.
So you went to Tokyo, you said, a year ago, right?
Mm-hmm.
How was that experience like over there?
It's a loaded question, but it was good. I learned a lot. I would say that was the most formative year of my life, I would say, just because you're out in the wilderness, essentially. Like, no one knows you really. So everything that you've been taught throughout your life, and all this stuff is coming to test. Like, okay, what are my actual morals? Because now ain't nobody watching me.
Mm-hmm.
So, but it was cool. Like, I met a lot of great people, had a lot of fun. It was hard sometimes because, for a majority of it, I was broke, like, real broke. So that being broke in Tokyo is not. It's not it.
It's not the move.
It's not it. But I met some very, very, very valuable friends along the way that I still dear to this day. So
that's dope. But you wouldn't trade that experience, right, for anything?
Not at all. Yeah, it was very important.
You seem to have draw a lot of inspiration from the 90s. Is there like a certain like element to that era that attracts you?
Yeah, I just feel like the 80s and 90s were, and this is arguable, but I just felt like in a lot of ways it was more musical. Hip hop and R&B were taking more inspiration from soul and jazz. You know what I'm saying? As opposed to, I feel like now it's better. I think 2020 is a good time for music. But at a certain point, I felt like it was getting very, very, how do I say, trend driven. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
Let's follow this trend. Let's do the way they're doing it. Like when Usher was dropping all those EDM joints, I was just like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, a bit strange.
I'm sure he made a grip, but it's like that whole thing. So I just enjoy it sonically. Even though pen game in the 90s was kind of terrible, like people were not very good at writing songs, as far as the poetry goes, but the actual beats and the musical part of it was really, really dope.
Or even like the culture from back then, because I noticed like even in your Tommy Strong music video, you got like 90s sitcom shows, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
so
Martin. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Martin. So you got like that whole element. Is that just like that whole kind of era that you like?
I mean, it's just kind of been a slightly annoying thing throughout my short career. It's just like, it's kind of being called the 90s guy.
Really?
Yeah, but it's like, I get it though, because, that's what I'm the kind of person, like whatever I'm listening to a lot of is what's going to kind of manifest somehow in my music. So during the Making a Bussin', I was just listening to a lot of obscure R&B records. I'm just like, and plus, I put it out on NBN, and Honor is really into 90s R&B, and so it made sense. But
got you.
I'm cool with people saying it for now. It's like, sure, but at some point they're gonna realize that it's a little bit deeper than just the 90s.
Yeah. Definitely. So your creation process sounds like you're like very present in what you do, right?
Mm-hmm.
So how does your creation process work? Like when you get an idea for a track?
Depends. Sometimes I'll literally be on a beach or walking or something, just random, and I'll have an idea. Grab my phone, voice memo, go home, make it. So there's been quite a few joints where I did it like that. Sometimes I'll make the beat first. That's a little more rare these days, where I'll just like make a beat first and then, write a song around it.
Yeah.
I really enjoy the process of writing in my head and then like trying to conceptualize it in real life. So, yeah.
Okay. So we talked a lot about like how you got into making beats.
Mm-hmm.
At what point in your musical career did you start with vocals?
I've been self-conscious of my voice for as long as I can remember. My senior year of college, I tried out for this choir in my college called the Aliens. Technically the best choir in the world, but that's neither here nor there. But yeah, shout out the Aliens. I auditioned with them. Everyone was telling me that the conductor, Dr. Ferdinand, would let me in just because he likes musicians in his choir. He likes people who have an ear and have good theory. So I'm sure he wasn't like super impressed with my voice or anything, but he knew what I was capable of on a compositional aspect and like theory. So that is what kind of got me into singing, kind of got me, using my voice.
Yeah.
But as far as singing on my own stuff, that started maybe right before I left for Tokyo.
Yeah.
And then I haven't looked back.
Does the fact that you make your own beats like help you a lot?
Yeah.
Just with bringing your vision and your sound to life?
Yeah. I mean, being a composer first, I like control, so I like to be able to like mix my vocals, record my vocals, write my song, write the beat. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, I like having as much control as possible because I know what I want to hear at the end of the day.
Yeah.
So, and I'm like very, very like kind of a brat when someone else is not doing justice to what I've, so.
Yeah, that must be important for you then for like who you work with too, because I know you work a lot with Mind Design and Joyce Rice, right? So like, are they very open to like your ideas and you guys work well together then probably, right?
Yeah, because I mean, first of all, Ringo and Joyce are like two of my best friends, so we're very, very open to each other's ideas, and we both respect each other as artists. So it's like, we know each other's strengths, so we listen to each other when you say like, maybe we should, you know what I'm saying? We're all kind of humble, and we'll go, okay, fine, you know what I'm saying? So.
And you guys have that like pre-established relationship prior to working together. You know what I mean? That you might not have with another artist.
Yeah, and that's what I prefer when I'm working with people. Like, it's always a little awkward when I'm just getting into the studio with someone and meeting them the first time.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because you're kind of like trying to microwave up a relationship.
Facts.
You
Yeah,
know
facts.
what I'm saying? It's like, I don't know you like that, but okay, let's do this,
Yeah.
So, yeah, me and Joyce, we got lunch twice before we did any music together. So.
Damn, really?
Yeah.
That's dope. I feel like that's important in itself to get to know somebody before you work with them.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
How did you guys link up?
So when I got over here, the first day I got here, I linked up with Ringo, because the couch I was sleeping on was a couch that he slept on at one point in his life. So it's like,
wow.
Yeah, it's crazy. But yeah, like a week into my stay over there, I saw Joyce was listening to one of my songs, That's All. And she had tagged me, and I was like, oh shit, I knew about her. So I was like, dang, what's happening? Trying to get brunch was good.
Hey.
And she was like, yeah, let's do it. So, we met up, and yeah, it was just smooth from there.
You guys make so much good music together,
Oh,
man.
thank you,
It's amazing, and I'm sure you guys have like a bright future ahead as well for like future
We got
projects, right?
Got some cool things planned.
You got some cool things planned.
Yeah.
I saw you guys were over in that like forest area, right? How was that experience?
Man. Woo, man. Get out in nature, y'all, for real. It's nice. It's called the Getaway.
Okay.
This is not a paid advertisement.
Okay. Make that clear.
But yeah, like Joyce got hooked up with this thing with the Getaway, and it's in Running Springs, California. And you're in this little like mini trailer type deal, and you're out in the forest. You know, it's fire, and it's just cool. You know, we had 2 nights together, bunk beds, so we all were just like in one little cramped up space, and it was a cool little bonding experience. We just cooked all our food and made
crazy.
music, and yeah, it was fun. It was a lot of fun.
That's dope, man. It must be a good break away from like the normal process, right, of what you're doing.
Yeah,
and I wanted to touch on that for you, like how has been making music in this like COVID element for you?
Not to sound heartless, but it's been great.
It's been great.
It's just
Okay.
been kind of helping me focus. I feel like with this pandemic, man, a lot of people are scared, and it's very easy to fixate your focus on the fear of the uncertainty of the future. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
yeah, it's really easy to be like, oh, I don't know what's gonna happen, and especially if you're in a situation where your work has been affected. So I want to be sensitive of that
Mm-hmm.
for myself. Even though I haven't been able to do shows, it's been good just because I've been able to focus more on what I'm trying to do and just like really take a sit and just be like, okay, what am I doing? You know, so
Yeah.
that's the best part. So it's been helpful, you know. I've just been really kind of take care of myself, you know, creatively, physically, spiritually, you know.
Is a rollout process different when you're releasing music just because there's no like live shows and
A little bit, but yeah, I still feel like I haven't dropped a lot of music yet. So it's like
Mhm.
that's the exciting part, because I'm just like figuring out clever ways to drop new music, because you don't have to drop an album anymore,
Yeah.
you know.
Mhm.
Who knows? I may never drop an album again.
Oh shit.
Wink, wink. Nah.
Damn. Setting
But
that
nah, I
expectation.
mean, you know, you can just drop singles, and I'm learning what's more important these days is visuals. You know, people love a video, you know.
Yeah, that's very important. That's true. That's why I record on my podcast too. You know what I mean?
Nice. Yeah.
People like to see while they're watching as well,
Yeah, for sure.
which is important for the
Mhm.
whole element of it. But
For sure.
you touched on this earlier, just the fact of like where music is at right now. You really like where it's at right now.
Mhm.
How have you adapted to like the evolution of music and streaming from like this past, I don't know, decade of the last 10 years?
Well, I didn't really start putting music out until 2018. Yeah, so like I'm still kind of fresh into this thing, you know.
Yeah.
I've been learning a lot very quickly, but
Right.
you know, I can't super much, like I really can't recall when the industry was different
Got you.
as far as like being in it. 'Cause
You can't speak to that.
Yeah. I mean, I could talk about it from a consumer aspect, but as far as an actual creator, like, you know, I've had conversations with Jazzy Jeff where he'll tell me about like how it used to be. I'm just like, oh wow.
Yeah.
You know.
Like some of the old heads. Like I had House Shoes on here a
Word.
few weeks ago, and he
Oh,
was
word,
breaking it all down.
Shout out
like
to Shoes, man.
yeah, shout out to Shoes. He's a real ass dude. Like
Yeah, he's funny, man.
tell it how
Love
it
that guy.
is. Are you analytical? Like, do you pay attention to the streams and all that? And
Not really. Not compared to a lot of my comrades. Well, actually, no, I won't even say that. I feel like the community that I'm a part of, we're not really focused on that too much.
okay,
You know? I would say Joyce is pretty good with that. I'm trying to get better at that. I'm trying to be a little bit more intentional about everything, how I roll things out now.
Right.
I feel like I haven't been a very good artist. Like I'm good, but I'm like, as far as doing the whole artist thing, I'm still like, okay, let me sharpen things up a little bit, you know.
Yeah, because I know there's like a science to it, you know what I mean? Like retention,
Yeah.
like all that stuff. But
Yeah.
at the same time, it's like if you put out good music.
That's the most important thing.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't matter what kind of rollout you got if the song's whack. You know
Facts,
what I'm saying?
yeah,
Like, you could do all the bells and whistles, man.
So when you want feedback from like a track that you're gonna release, like are there certain people that you value advice from on it, or like run it by before releasing it?
Not really. Like once
I mean, you got confidence. That's good. Then
I know what I want. I know what I like. So like once I'm like confident in something, I'm like, okay,
yeah.
this is done. Here, you filthy animals. No, I'm just kidding. But I can look at things from a very musical standpoint and be like, okay, this is good. But sometimes I may need a perspective of someone who's a little bit more business minded, or someone who doesn't think in terms, you know, like the way I do. So I'll send it to maybe hip hop, Kiambo Joshua, you know, good friend of mine. I'll send it to him and see what he thinks sometimes, or maybe I'll send it to. I mean, me and Mind Design always playing each other's stuff, just you know, hanging out. But we're both like musicians, so
Right.
if it's one of those things where I really kind of care about how the general public might feel, then I'll send it to someone who I know is not a musician, or you know what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
Say, how do you feel about this? And they'll be like, oh, it's cool, and I'm like, all right, well, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So yeah, it just kind of depends.
Got you. With the fact that you've been in this since 2018, you're still like new to a lot of it. So it's got to be exciting to realize that there's been as much traction as there has been for you in this like short amount of time, right?
Yeah, and I have to humble myself. I had a moment where my ego got a little bit puffed up, just a little bit.
Really?
You know, just because I knew what I was capable of, and I just kind of knew how good my music was. In a sense, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
From an artistic standpoint, but then there's sometimes I'm just like, you know, let me sit my eyes down. Like I just got here, you know what I'm saying? Like let me chill. So like that, being on tour will do that. You
Really?
know what I'm saying? It's like, even though like a good amount of people will show up to shows and show a bunch of love, you know, sometimes you'll look at someone like what, Brent Fayez, who's been doing this for a while now.
Yeah.
You know, and has put out a lot of great content. So it's like, even though when it comes to a set of talents, you know, we differ, but he's just been kind of like, he's been doing his thing. So it's like, I can't really compare. You can't compare your journey to anybody's, first of all.
Okay.
Like, your journey is totally specific to you. So
that's hard to do for a lot of people. I know I struggle with that personally, like, because there's so many podcasts out there, you know what I mean? It's hard to...
You'd be like, dang, man, Joe Rogan is killing it.
Yeah, you're gonna base your success off the top dog. It's not... You're never going to be satisfied with that, you know what I mean? So it's all about, like, finding that fine line, because you mentioned earlier you're pretty competitive, you know what I mean? You just have a competitive nature. So, like, is it difficult for you to find that like, fine line and balance between, like, not being content, but at the same time, like, trying to push for more?
It's getting easier just because I'm thinking more like dates now. You know what I'm saying? Like I've had a couple friends die recently, and then I've had like a couple scares in my family, which made me go, okay, time is limited. Let me not be too perfectionist right now. Let me get the stuff out and just, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Anyone who's like talking a bunch of smack about other artists and they don't really have anything out, it's like your opinion doesn't really count because you're too scared to like put it out there. Like you got to put yourself out there.
Right.
So yeah.
I hear you, man. And you mentioned that you were on tour. At what point? Sometime last year, right?
Yep.
When you were traveling, did you take some time to reflect and just think about like, damn, my music brought me here? And
Oh, yeah.
you know what I mean?
I would say it was almost too much reflection. Now I'm like less reflective. Now I'm like, let's just do more. You know what I'm saying? But at a point, because it happened so fast, I was just like, how the heck did this happen? You know what I'm saying? Like, I was just teaching the English class and falling asleep while I'm teaching the lesson. You know
That's nuts. You got a crazy life, man. Like from
you don't know
Orlando,
half, man.
I could only imagine. So
I'm omitting.
All right, fair enough. Cheers, by the way. It's Sunday. It's a beautiful day. I learned the proper way to drink wine the other week,
man.
Actually.
Put me on.
So there's like a science to everything. The way the glass is formed,
of course.
the way you drink it, specifically something for you guys to listen to. When you take a sip of wine, when it's a white wine, you're supposed to throw your head back a little bit, because when you do that, it goes down the center of your tongue, and it matters because of your taste buds. So if you take a sip of wine right now, throw your head back, it's gonna taste completely different than when you take a sip and put your head down. When you put your head down, it's gonna be a little bit vinegary.
Whoa!
Can you feel that? You taste that? But when you throw your head back, it goes down the center of your taste buds. So I don't know the whole science of it, but
that's dope, man. I love facts like that. I love little things like that. Yeah, I'm really into stuff like that.
Yeah, me too.
Thank you. That's cool.
Of course, bro, because after I learned that, I was like, man, I've been drinking it wrong the whole time. And then when you drink red wine, you take a sip and you put your head down, because that's the way it's supposed to be drinking. I'm sure there's people, if they're listening to this, like know exactly why, but
they're like, oh, you have all the wrong terminology.
Yeah, right.
Word. Okay.
That's all that matters, you know, the exact reason why you're supposed to do it. Like,
this is very useful information for my everyday life. Thank you.
Very much so. And have you ever noticed that Coke from McDonald's hits different than?
I don't be eating McDonald's.
You don't be eating McDonald's?
Like,
okay.
not like that. And if I do, I don't be getting soda like that.
Well, have you ever had like one of the Coke bottles that are like skinny?
Yeah.
You just by nature, everybody knows that one tastes better for some reason.
Sure.
The reason why it tastes better is because the way the bottle's formed. Like, it's the same CocaCola you're getting, but it's like has a skinny tube, therefore it goes down your tongue differently. Just random facts, man.
Interesting. Is there a reason why sodas in cans taste way better than everything?
Yeah, actually,
it's gotta be.
Another fun fact on that, there's like, I forgot what beer company it was, but they patented a certain way their can is open, which makes it taste better than other beer companies. I wish I knew the name of the company, but I forgot. Wow. But yeah, the same reason for cans is the way the air path is formed. Yeah, take that. Tell it to a group of people.
Yeah, I'm usually at a party. Like, you do know that you're supposed to drink this a little.
Yeah, just go snob on some people real quick. Let them know. Yeah, but going back to your career, so what do you have going on in the near future? Do you have any releases coming out?
September 18th, I'm dropping a new single called "Kiss" with Isley.
Okay.
So that should be fun. I actually made that track while I was in France.
Ooh.
And I sent it over to Kiss, to Alex, and she was like, I love it. Sent me the vocals like the next day. And yeah, so that's coming out. And then I got some more stuff in the pipeline. Don't want to say too much yet. So.
Okay. If people want to follow your journey, where can they find you?
On the Instagram, I'm Devin J Morrison. Devin with an I.
Devin with an I.
Yeah, and Twitter too. I'm not on there as much, but yeah, holla at me there.
Yeah, but if people want to find your work, that's where they're gonna find you. Obviously, besides Spotify.
Yeah, Spotify and all that stuff. Bandcamp.
Hell yeah, man. Well, I'm excited to hear the project that's coming out, or the single that's coming out on the 18th, and then obviously the rest of your career, because you have so much potential, and you've been in this.
Sure.
I mean, you went to school for this long ago, but like, you have been in the music game for only a couple years now, so sky's the limit for you, man.
Yeah, man. Thank you, brother.
Of course. Yeah. Other than that, any last words from you, Devin?
Everybody seek the truth always, and wherever that leads you, trust it.
I love it. We're gonna end on that, ladies and gentlemen. Devin Morrison over here on Ambiance Podcast.
God
Peace.
bless.